Hello boys and girls, today we're going to do lesson 10-4 on page 346. We will start on 346 and not 345 because we need to save the math boxes for class. Now, starting on 346, we're going to learn about distance and speed as well as time. Whenever you're calculating how long a trip took or how fast you were traveling, or you want to maybe get an idea how long it will take, you can use a simple formula. And that formula is distance equals rate times time. For example, let's look at question 1. A plane travels at a speed of 480 miles per hour. This is telling you the rate of how much it can travel, 480 miles, in 1 hour. Okay, that tells you how fast it is going. This is how we measure speed. In countries that use the metric system, they use kilometers. Here, we're using the standard system from the United States, or what we call the imperial system as well, to use miles. So we have 480 miles per hour. If we wanted to solve that and figure out what it would be per minute, we would simply divide it by the number of minutes in 1 hour. Okay? So that would be 60. If we divide 480 by 60, we will get how many miles we can travel in 1 minute, because there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. So 480 divided by 60 equals 8. Therefore, this airplane can travel 8 miles per minute. That's quite fast. Go ahead and write this down right here. You divided 480 divided by 60 minutes, and you will get your distance per minute, which is 8. Question 2. For an airplane flying at 8 miles per minute, or 480 miles per hour, mph, miles per hour, you can use the following rule to calculate the distance traveled for any number of minutes. Distance traveled, which could be represented with the d, is equal to 8 miles per minute times the time. So the time here, we're going to enter it in minutes, because that is the unit we're trying to use. So distance is 8 times how many minutes? So now let's go ahead and move down to number 3, where we have to fill out the chart. Here we have 1 minute is 8 miles, right? 2 minutes will be 16 miles. How many miles will they travel in 3 minutes? Well, you continue the pattern. 1 is 8, 2 is 16, 3 would be 24, and so on. On the next page, you will use the data you just designed, you just created, and you will line it here. The first two have already been done for you, which in the first minute, so time is along the bottom. Remember, whenever you're doing a line plot, it's always good to use time as your horizontal axis, x, to show the changes in time. And you have time at the bottom, and we said that the first one will be 8. So you go to 1 minute and then 8 miles. 2 minutes, 16 miles. 3 minutes should be around here, right around 24. And you go ahead and you connect those when you're all done. Question 5, we're asked, how far would the plane travel in 1.5 minutes? 1.5 minutes, we locate it here. 1.5 minutes, right in the middle there. So 1.5 minutes, if we went straight up, we could locate it at this point. And to me, it looks like it would be around 13. You can put the word about, okay, because we're being asked to estimate. So we find the half point here, we move up, and wherever we hit the dot, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, it would be 12 or 13. You can make your estimate. For question 6, now we're being asked time. How many miles would the plane travel in 5 minutes and 24 seconds, or 5.4? Locate 5.4 right about there. Okay, how many miles would it travel? Well, once you've already created your line, you can match it. And for question 7, we are asked, how long would it take the plane to travel 60 miles? Now we're talking about distance. 60 miles, how long would it take? Again, bring your finger across, and then when you hit the line that you've drawn, try to estimate how many miles you've traveled in that time. Another way to do it would be, you can travel by 8 miles per minute. You can just simply divide that by 8. And that will give you the number of minutes. You must continue to practice with the next two pages, pages 348 and 349. Again, solve the graph that you have, figure out what the rule is, and then simply graph it. Let's do number 4 together. You must do 1, 2, and 3. We will check those in class. Let's do 4 together. Question 4. Joan's car uses 1 gallon of gasoline every 28 miles. So the rule is distance equals 28 times number of gallons. Here we have 1 gallon equals, 1 gallon is 28. So let's go ahead and fill that in, 28. 2 gallons would be double, which is 56. 3 gallons would be 84. And, well, let's figure out how many, we have to divide this by 28, right? Divide it by 28, or I should put it like this. Divide it by 28 so that we can get how many gallons. The reason we divide it by 28 is because we've been multiplying times 28 per gallon. Okay? So 3 times 28, because every single one is 28. So to go backwards, we do the opposite. We divide by 28, and I get 5. Well, what would 5.5 be? Well, we now understand that 5 is 140, and then what's half of 28? Because it's half. Remember, 28 times a half is half of 28. That would be 14. 140 plus 14 is 154. Okay, now we have to graph it. So go ahead and try to figure out what each little cube is valued at. I'm assuming that each one will be 10. So if we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yes. So that would be 50, right up to there. 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. And there's my graph. Now my line is not the greatest because I have to draw on a screen, but make sure that your dots are all perfectly aligned so that you can make one straight line, because the consumption of gasoline is constant. Since the speed is constant, the amount of gasoline consumed will be constant. So those dots in the line should match. For part B, we have to plot a point to show how far the car would travel in 1.4 gallons. 1.4 would be around here, okay? 1.4 gallons of gasoline, how many miles would it travel? And here's the mile. I'm going to say it'll travel about exactly 50. And the answer is 50 miles. Make sure to write these two little stars around 50 miles, and that way I'll know that you watched the video.